What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Miosha Bean. I'm back with another reaction video for you guys. Today we're doing something different. I'm really excited to really watch this one. This one is Candace Owens. If you don't know her, check her out. She's really awesome. I really like her stuff. But this is a video called "The Side of the Porn Industry That They Don't Want You to Know." So I'm super excited to try this and get into this reaction. I've never seen this before. I'm excited to watch and to learn. All right, so let's check it out.
So I have spoken to people that have been in the porn industry before, and one thing that they pointed to me, which I just think that if people know this, I don't see how any person in good conscience could consume porn, is how high the suicide rates are for women in the industry.
Yeah.
And how drugged a lot of these women are to give themselves the confidence to be able to do what they are doing.
Yeah.
And how drugged they are after they do these scenes to be able to try to numb the pain of realizing what they have just done or what they have contributed to. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in 2018, there was like back-to-back suicides. I mean, it was every month. I think it was like 5 or 6 months in a row, somebody was dying. I have probably 15 friends that have died to either suicide or drug overdose. I just lost somebody that I was very close to last year. There's a very high death rate in the porn industry. And as far as drugs, I mean, I was one of those drug addicts. I had left the industry at one point at my 3.5-year mark because I was withdrawing from heroin.
Wow.
And that's when I ended up meeting a pimp, and he got me back into the industry for another 3.
Hey guys, really quick, just want to say sorry to interrupt your video watching. So I'm just here to let you guys know that you can check out my film, Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. It is in stores. You could buy this online. You can get this DVD Blu-ray starring, Alan Delaby, Eric Roberts. Yeah, guys, check it out. Anatomy of an Anti-Hero. You can buy this in stores. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your love and support. It would be amazing if you guys check it out. Go watch this online. There it is. You can watch this baby online and catch it on certain channels. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. If you like action, go cop this DVD today. Wow. Really quick. The only thing I know about the porn industry would be I met a girl when I first moved to Los Angeles, maybe like roughly 2 years in. I met this girl, young woman, who was in the porn industry, and we just striked up a conversation, and she told me that she was into porn, and I was like, how does one get into that? I was just really curious because my world, I come from a small town. I wasn't really aware of this kind of world, and never knew anyone in it until coming to Los Angeles. And she talked about how, she was just trying to pay off school, and then she met this man who happened to be a pimp, and she's trying to get out and do better for herself, but it's kind of tough because like, where's she gonna go? It's expensive to live in Los Angeles. And it was really, really sad, really sad story to hear from her. And I got to, like she said, I got to go. And like her pimp came to pick her up, and she left. And that was literally, 101, like my first introduction to that world. And I just was like, wow, blown away of just how sad it was. So yeah, let's just get back into it. This is really interesting.
So talk about when you became a drug addict. So you're in the industry for 3 years. You left because of your addiction. When was the first time that you did heroin, and what gave you that impulse?
Okay, so, well, heroin, I mean, there were other drugs that led up to that. So I was on set. I was new in the entertainment or in the adult industry. And I'm 105 pounds, 5'1". I'm not overweight, but a director tells me, you're fat, you need to lose weight. And in high school, although I'd never been a pot smoker, I did try coke a few times. And so I knew that it would make me not eat. So I asked one of the models, hey, I mean, apparently I'm fat and I need to lose weight. Is there, do you have access to any cocaine? And she was like, you know, very suspicious as to why I was asking her. I'm like, no, I really do just want to buy cocaine. And so she ended up getting me some. And then from there, I just kind of got hooked and I started using it every day. And then I started dating a guy that introduced me to the Norcos, which are like Vicodin. They're for pain medication. From there, it went to Oxycontins. And then from Oxycontin, there was a girl that I was buying Oxycontins from that said, have you ever chased the dragon? And I'm like, what does that mean? And I thought she was talking about something in porn. And she's like, come over and I'll show you. So I hung out with her and she pulled out this piece of foil, put a piece of black tar with like, it was like a plastic, you know, where you put your tampons in?
Yeah.
It was like a plastic from that.
Applicator.
An applicator, thank you. And she just started smoking heroin in front of me and she's like, it's better than Oxy. So I tried it and used that for many months before I decided that, you know what, like I can't take this anymore. I had called my grandma and told her, hey, if you don't come get me, I honestly think I'm going to commit suicide because I can't take this life anymore.
Wow. So you became a heroin abuser. Started with Oxycontin, cocaine, and then it leads to needing something stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, were you taking these drugs before scenes, after scenes, between scenes?
I lived on drugs because what happens when you become addicted is your body goes through intense withdrawals. So if you don't feed it what it needs, you're going to lose control of your bowels, your legs, everything's going to hurt. You're going to be in intense pain, like far worse than the flu. Like you just feel awful. So I mean, I was on them every day. When I was down to like my last 10 to 15 pills, I'm like, I need to call the dealer because if they don't have them, I need to figure it out. Like, I mean, it was a vicious cycle of like, I'd get paid from porn, but then I'd have to go and chase the drug dealer. Like my net worth was said to be like, I don't know, $3.4 million by the time I left the business. I left that industry with my last paycheck, $1,500. That was it.
You're making money and then you're spending the money to get drugs.
Yeah.
Wow. And I only know one person personally that's ever been addicted to heroin, what I've known from way back, from middle school. And I remember seeing her as she got clean. And when she described to me in detail what the withdrawals were like to get off of heroin, she just said it was like dying.
Yeah.
That it's
Absolutely.
just, it's like dying. Every piece of your body is just, she was, in the hospital, and she said you can't even describe that sort of pain.
It's awful.
And yet you were willing to go through that pain. You call your grandmother and you say, come get me. And did she come get you?
She did. She drove up to Los Angeles, moved me in with her into her home in San Diego. And I mean, I did get help from a doctor. I went to a doctor, got on what was called Suboxone to kind of help alleviate the withdrawal a little bit, but it was still pretty bad.
Okay. Why didn't you call your mother or your father?
You know what? I, at that time, had a very, very hindered relationship with my mom. She and I have a great relationship now, but she was the cause of a lot of the voids that I had in life,
Okay. So your grandmother comes to the rescue. And how long did you spend with her?
I was with her for maybe 3 to 5 months before I met a guy that I started dating. He was in a motorcycle gang. I had moved in with him. He got stabbed to death in front of me. And then from there, I had nowhere to live. And the pimp, which was his friend, comes and kind of is like, oh, well, I'll put you in a hotel for a few days. And he's giving me meth. And, because at this point I started using crystal meth. And
did you get clean while you were with your grandmother?
I
or was
did.
It sort of...
Yeah, but it was a very short stint of being clean. Like it didn't last long, obviously.
So you fell right back in. You watched your ex-boyfriend get stabbed to death. His friend, he's the pimp, says, hey, I'll take care of you. You need somewhere place to stay. And now he's supplying you with drugs, methamphetamine.
Yes.
Totally different drug from heroin.
Totally different, yeah. This one gets you wired. So I start hearing voices. So he ends up taking me to a mental institution. I get clean there for a few days, and then he brings me to his apartment. He was actually a believer, a backslidden believer. So he introduces me to the Bible and takes me and gets me baptized.
This is the same person that gave you the meth, and he is a pimp.
Yes.
But he's also a believer. And after you go into a mental institution, he says, actually, by the way, I forgot to mention that aside from being a pimp, and aside from supplying you with drugs, I also am a believer.
Yeah, because he was a meth addict at one point and found God, and that's how God healed him. But then he ended up going into this line of work, if you want to call it that.
I'm not sure how God healed him, but he's also
Well, yeah,
supplying
you're right.
methamphetamine. He sounds like a
Yeah.
conflicted Christian.
Very much so.
Which
Very
is,
much
you
so.
know, that's not to make fun of him. It's just to
Yeah.
point to the fact
No, it's
that,
true.
you know,
Yeah.
he clearly was still
It's true.
struggling himself. But
So after
still,
I get
he tells
clean-
you about
Yeah, no, that's very strange for someone to say, hey, by the way, I'm a Christian. I know I did some bad things to you and I messed you up. Like, I get you're battling things, but that's not Christian behavior. But okay. Yeah, okay. Let's just see. This is really good. It's very interesting so far. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
but
So after
still,
I get
he tells
clean-
you about Christ.
Yeah. So, So after I get clean and I kind of have like just almost like a new attitude because I'm reading the Bible every day, but I don't really understand it. He starts to explain to me that, Jesus loves prostitutes because of Mary Magdalene and very twisting the scriptures. And then from there, he's like, I just think it's time. I think that it's time for you to get back into the porn industry. And, and I'm just like I knew that he was a pimp, but because men were my weakness and I had grown attracted to him at that point. And I thought like, oh no, like he even gave me a ring, proposed to me, all of this. So I'm thinking like, I thought we were in love. Like I was very naive. Like, why would you put me back into, I don't know. I let him take advantage of me. I didn't know. I was vulnerable at that time in my life.
And how old are you at this time?
21.
So young.
Yeah.
So young.
Yep.
All of this has happened. You've seen a lot of life up until this point.
Absolutely.
And now you think you're in love, and
Yeah.
he says, Jesus loved prostitutes. And I think it's time for you to go back to the porn industry.
Exactly.
And you
I go back.
went
I
back.
go back. I told him, I said, me thinking that we're in love, like, hey, if I go back to the industry, we're not going to last. And he's like, oh yeah, we're going to be together forever. So 3 years later, I had an encounter. I actually had an encounter with God, and I just felt like, you know what, I need to leave this guy. And so he'd been taking all my money for 3 years, but I prepared myself. I stashed money from an overnight escorting gig that I did I think it was in Miami. And he found out about the money that I stashed, took it. I was crazy, called 911, threatened to turn him in, and he gave me the money, and I ended up getting away from him. And that time, it was actually with the help of my mom.
Really? So did you call her in
I did.
a desperate moment?
In a desperate moment, yeah.
And
she
what
was there
did
for
you
me.
say to her?
I told her, Mom, I need to get away from this guy. I said, he's no good for me. I'm sure you know that. And I really need your help.
Wow. And what did she do?
She showed up. She lived about 15 minutes away, and she was there for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were able to get that money back from him?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I could get my own apartment and a car at that point. And
It must have been a lot of money.
yeah.
He was taking all of it.
Well, I mean, he took all my money for 3 years, yeah. So I want to say I stashed around $10,000. I got a little $5,000 car from Craigslist and was able to get an apartment. Then I had no money, and I was going to go back to what I knew. So I went and filmed my last porn scene before I had yet another God encounter.
Wow. What an interesting story. It's really unfortunate for a lot of people to get on drugs and to be manipulated at such a young age. I mean, she said she was 21 when all these things happened. So imagine, I mean, she was definitely earlier when she started in the industry, the porn industry. But it's so sad that people take advantage of people that are weak and don't really know any better, and it's so good that she's at a place now where she can talk about it. I feel like we aren't I feel like everyone in this world, whether something bad happens to you, something good happens to you, we are not our shortcomings, right? Yes, shortcomings happen and things happen in our life, bad things happen, good things happen in life, but we're supposed to share them to help others. That knowing that, hey, listen, I got out of this, you can too. Whatever that thing is at, whatever you're doing with your life, whatever that looks like, whatever your thing is that whether you're into porn, entertainment, you're a lawyer, doc, whatever, police officer, pastor. I love that she, told her testimony and shared her testimony, because I mean, as much as I of course, I'm sure there was some shame
to share this story, but I'm glad that this is on such a platform. You know, Candace Owens is having this conversation, this kind of dialogue, which is super healthy and important for a lot of young women and men who are in the business, who are trying to get into it, or who are being taken advantage of, or whatnot. But it's a great testimony, and you know, I'm glad that. So yeah, no, it's just really good that, you know, she has this platform to share stories like these. I think it's super inspiring, and it's good for people to hear this story, because man, it's something that makes you think, you know. And my heart goes out to, you know, people that are in it and that are probably going through that, you know, or that have experienced that. It's really unfortunate. But thank you guys again for watching with me, and again, thank you guys for sending me these videos to react to. I enjoyed, you know, watching these videos, because I learn a lot, and I hope you do too, and take away something from this video. Make sure you guys head over to my Patreon to check out videos that cannot make it on YouTube due to copyright, or it's just too much for YouTube to have on their channel. I've been blocked before from posting certain videos, so head over to ones that you can't watch on this channel. Head over there for only for $5. Subscribe, support the production company, M.V.B Films Productions, as you see above. I have a film production company. I shoot movies. I do podcasts. I have a podcast show. So please support. Everything's in the description box below. And until next time, live, love, laugh, keep it locked, and we'll see you guys again soon. Peace.